Whether you started a podcast or maybe you're looking to start a podcast and you feel as though the topic that you are going to pick to jump into the podcasting game, you might think that it's just not going to work because you're going to be entering into a very crowded or a saturated market. Should you put your podcast in a saturated market that's filled with similar styles of podcasts? I don't know. Let's answer that coming up next. Hey there, podcaster. My name is Shannon, radio broadcaster, podcaster, and podcast producer. And today's video is brought to you by my 6 clever ways to monetize a podcast. I am mere pages from finishing this expanded guide for all of you who have been looking to monetize their podcast. Right now, you can get the condensed version on my website for the 6 clever ways to monetize a podcast. I'm going to leave a link down in the description below or right up here on the screen card so that you can go ahead and jump on the email list, grab the condensed version, and then in the next couple of weeks I will be sending out the expanded version for free. And then after I've sent it out the first time, that's it. It goes up for sale. So make sure you get on top of this as soon as possible, all right? Because it's definitely going to help you out, and I will be updating it over time, but you definitely want to get in on this expanded version that I will have for you. And if you ever want to communicate with me and ask questions or maybe get in on conversations, you can head on over to the community section on YouTube, and every week I'm trying to post out a new image or something that will help you out as a podcaster. Last week I posted something out about something that was very inspirational about getting out of your own head and what type of recording you should have, a stereo recording or a mono recording. So head on over to the community section right here on YouTube and you can check that out. So today we are talking about whether or not you should put a podcast inside of a crowded market. This is a question that I've gotten asked a couple of times on this particular channel within the last week. And I think it's important that we answer this question because there's a lot of self-doubt that I know a lot of current podcasters have about this and beginning podcasters. So this really can apply to just about everyone. Now, when we think about the type of podcast that we want to do, we come up with that particular topic and then we go, okay, well, can I make an impact inside of that particular market? Now, when I'm talking about market, I'm talking about maybe a category that you see on Apple Podcasts or any category for the matter, whether you're on Spotify, whether you're on Stitcher, wherever, okay? You want to make an impact with your podcast because you want to get a lot of downloads and you feel that your voice should be heard because of the knowledge that you have or the entertainment that you like to provide, right? So it's important for you to understand whether or not you should enter into this market, all right? So one thing that content creators like podcasters have a problem with is that they have a fear. They have a fear that the market is just way too saturated. And then the other fear is that they fear being maybe a little less authoritative or maybe less of an expert or less funny or whatever in a particular or market compared to maybe the people who have like top podcasts, all right? And I'm here to tell you to not worry about that at all. Don't worry about that at all because you're starting from ground zero for the most part. This is how I started ground zero from the radio station, and now I have my own radio show. Been doing it for, 13 years full time, 20 years total. So over the course of those years, I've built an audience of individuals who know, like, and trust me. And so it's just going to take time. Now, let's answer the question. Should you make a podcast and put it into a crowded or saturated market? My answer is going to be yes, absolutely. You do need to do this. In radio, we deal with crowded market already as it is. There are many other personalities that can entertain and educate listeners out into the city, all right? But it all depends on the style or the type of person that you really are. Maybe you are more attracted to a female voice and that's what you like to listen to, or maybe you're more attracted to a male voice. Maybe you're more attracted to the music. Maybe you're more attracted to the spoken content. It's all going to depend on what that particular person likes. Now, let me try and make a comparison of why you should go ahead and put your podcast into the market. Now, when I was going to college at Arizona State University all those years ago, I remember taking a religions course. And when I took that course, there were about 4 or 5 instructors that were all teaching that course. And for that market to be very saturated for multiple instructors, all I could remember is that, well, which instructor do I want to pick? Do I pick, this guy who's like just really bland, and I heard he's really bland, his tests are really hard? Or do I pick the one instructor who's going to be a little more easy in terms of their delivery of how they teach the content? Not necessarily were the tests easy, but how they deliver the content was a little more animated. So when I took that course actually twice, and the first time I failed it, and I regret not passing it the very first time because the instructor was really amazing at what she did. She taught the course where I understood it the most. But then when I took it the second time, because I failed it the first time, I took it the second time, I had an instructor that wasn't really all that great, and he focused on something completely different in that portion of the religions class. It just wasn't something that I wanted. Where one instructor, she focused more on Taoism, the other instructor focused more on Judaism. So it was two different styles of instruction of religion. It just depended on the type of instructor that I had. That's how I want you to think about you and your podcast. There may be a multitude of podcasts that are in the nutrition and fitness industry. There may be a multitude of podcasts that are in the comic book industry, in the music industry, in the business and networking industry. There are always podcasts that are always out there. The only difference that is going to separate out you from the rest of the other podcasts that are out there are two things right now. It's going to be the fact that you are going to continue to create a podcast and release it every week so that people can trust and know that they're going to be getting an episode every week from you. That's the best way to build trust with your listeners. They know, like, and trust you. It's very similar to how this YouTube channel is. I started over a year ago, and it is hell or high water. I will get a video out on a Thursday, and if I don't get a video out, my viewers know. So now they know, like, and trust me, and they will go and explore more content that is found on my particular website. So that's what you can do, all right? And the reason why I bring this up as far as my own YouTube channel is because there's a number of other podcast instructors or people who want to help with podcasting. There's a number of them out there. It just depends on which one you want to jibe with the most. If you jibe with me more, great. I'm happy to have you as a subscriber. But if you jibe with, say, other podcasters, other podcast coaches, that's completely fine with me as well, because you fit their mold a little bit better, all right? So I want you to think about you as the podcaster, as the content creator. You are creating your own style. You are sharing your own solutions. You are sharing your own information in your own manner, and that's what your listeners will gravitate towards. Now, if your listeners are gravitating towards your style, then you might need to adjust how you deliver your content. But for the most part, if you have a particular style, you just do the way you know how to do it the best. You are the expert in your field. You are the comedian. You are the entertainer. You are the expert at all of this, and people buy into that style as long as you are consistent with delivering it every single week. I hope this video has helped you out, and of course, make sure that down below you leave a thumbs up if you like this video, and hit the subscribe button while you're there. Hit the little bell button too so that you can get notified when I drop a brand new episode or a brand new video. I screw up in previous videos every now and again, and I'll say like podcast or whatever, but I will go ahead and deliver a brand new video to you. If you hit that little bell button, it'll notify you. And if you're starting this podcast game for the very first time, make sure that you check out my essential equipment guide. That link is down in the description below on this YouTube video, or up here in the top left-hand corner. Is it the left-hand corner or right-hand corner? It should be on your right-hand side, so it's opposite. But either way, you can go ahead and download that guide, and it'll tell you all the equipment that I am particularly using for my podcast and the clients that I am currently employed with. So it definitely helps you out. And please do leave a comment down in the section below. The comments help generate conversation. It helps other podcasters learn the solution to their problems, because that is the only way that we're going to get you over the hump to developing a very high quality podcast. So tell me, do you feel as though you are entering into a crowded market, and what are you afraid of, and how are you willing to get beyond that fear? I would love for you to comment down below and let me know what your fears are and what you're going to do about it to get beyond that fear of jumping into a crowded market. In the meantime, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do appreciate it, like I said. And over here on the right hand side, I will go ahead and leave a video or a playlist for you that might help you in your podcasting journey. In the meantime, take care, and we'll see you next week.